wasn't.
All right, I think we've got quite an audience, so I'll keep my humor to myself. But welcome back. We're getting ready to start Houses from Heck with two of some of my closest friends in the industry, so I'm kind of excited for this one. Houses from Heck with Chad Robinson and Josh Kerber. So let's see here. Josh Kerber is the life of Brian and can a radon system be dangerous? I'm kind of excited. First, Chad is the founder of Building Performance and Radon Solutions out of Kansas. His education is a BS, and no kidding to that, right? A BS in mechanical engineering, along with his passion for the environment and many years of construction design, have led him to focus his expertise on radon mitigation. Wow, it's the end of the day. He's an NRPP and State of Kansas certified radon mitigation and measurement specialist, and personally designed and installed hundreds of radon mitigations. Josh Kerber works for this Minnesota Department of Health.
Did you notice your introduction versus mine there, Josh? It's pretty good. Thank you, Crystal. So, hey, Josh, starting off this House from Heck thing, you know, we've talked about this a lot, and I was just kind of wondering, have you ever seen a house where they didn't have pressure field extension underneath like all of the foundation zones, and they had a problem with getting the radon levels down?
Every day. Every day.
So pretty common. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and whoa, what happened there? I guess that's my screen. Okay, so Josh and I also teach an optimal mitigation class with Bruce Sneed, but
let's be honest, Bruce does most of the instructing.
Right. We just go to drink beer.
You two, remember, you only have like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
We only have 3 slides.
Yeah, we're good. We've practiced this. So we were saying we don't have PFE underneath every foundation zone. Well, a buddy of mine calls me a couple of years after taking our mitigation class, our optimal mitigation class, and he says, man, I've got 5 houses. Like, if you're in the area sometime, come by and go with me to these houses and show me what I need to do, which to me said he understood enough from the class to know that he wasn't doing things quite right, but he hadn't quite caught on yet. 5 houses that he'd been working on for as much as 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
He was in our class in Kansas City, and knows, so he's clearly got pressure field numbers and airflow numbers, right?
Actually, not. So the reason this is titled Misadventures in Radon Mitigation.
2 years?
2 years. So anyway, first house we go to, it looks like this. We got a small basement, big crawl space. We have a high flow fan underneath, going underneath the membrane in the crawl space. We don't have full pressure field extension in the crawl space. Don't have full pressure field extension in this small basement, despite having 2 suction points. And so we start looking around. We're like, okay, what's going on here? Well, in the crawl space, I crawl in there, and the membrane is sealed to the old membrane that is not sealed to the wall. So then I wish
that high flow fan going.
I wish everybody could see Josh's face at the same time, because the look is classic. Okay, so we seal the crawl space, we seal the cracks in the basement, and bam, we're done. Pressure field extension everywhere, radon levels go down, never has a problem again with the house. Super simple. House number 2, we go to same day. We get there and we've got 3 suction points, and radon system going out over here where the arrow is. Pressure field extension is about through a third of the house.
So why are we not over in that finished area?
Why would we be in the finished area?
Why aren't we? If we don't have pressure field extension over there,
right?
So why the location of those 3 suction points?
I would say that it was probably a WAG, W-A-G. If you don't know the acronym, look it up on Google because I can't say it here. So anyway, we're like, okay, we don't have pressure field extension over here on the right. We need pressure field extension on the right. How do we get it?
Now I got to clear my history. Thanks, man.
You have to clear your Google history now? Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you look it up on your work computer?
No, actually.
You're good. All right. So there's some cracks that we can get to. We seal the cracks. We extend the pressure field about a third or 2/3 of the way through the house now. But we really need a suction point further to the right. Put a suction point here. Suction point number 2 should have been right here to begin with, and then done some stitching to get over to get our pressure field extension all the way to the end. Okay, so I've got 2 more slides. We've got 2 more houses that I could talk about. We don't have time to go into those, but ultimately what we have here is 4 houses that didn't have full pressure field extension under all of the foundation zones. What I want to say is, fortunately, this contractor has learned from this, and now he calls me on a fairly regular basis and says, man, you wouldn't believe this. We had this house another contractor had worked on. Somebody calls us because it's not working, and we go out there and fix it. And he's got a lot of confidence to fix houses now. It's really kind of a cool story. So, I mean, we kind of make fun of him a little bit in this process, but at the same time, the guy is doing a great job now, and I'm super happy for him. So I'm going to quit sharing my screen and let you bring yours up. Did that already happen?
I did that.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
So, so Brian has learned the better of his ways, and he's doing PFE, and he can solve his own quote unquote houses from heck.
Right.
So obviously, if you don't have PFE under every slab or every foundation zone, you may not win the game. But what can happen if you actually have too much? Or what if we're in getting too much, you're overpowering systems, you're oversizing systems. And that's one mitigation system I'm going to show you guys here, is that bigger is not always better. So let's get into this. It was just another day at the office when I get a phone call from a homeowner in north central Minnesota. And my colleague Deb and I trace all the way up 3 hours north of the Twin Cities and find this lovely, pretty quaint house. And this is just a precursor of what's to come here, folks. That house will look like that 5 months out of the year here in Minnesota. The only unique thing about this house, frankly, is that it's a wood foundation. And I'll get into those details here in a second. The homeowners tested for radon, do-it-yourself test kit, and it was 13 in March. Well, as it warmed up, the radon went down because they have their doors and windows open. They don't have central air. So when I fast forward to November that year, they installed the radon system, and the radon post-mitigation result was less than 0.3. But they did that test with the windows open.
Wait, hold on a second here. You're telling me that they put a radon system in, radon levels were low, but we're in the middle of winter and they've got their doors and windows open to do the radon test?
They do.
Okay.
Because they have to heat the house with a wood stove.
Oh.
The only source of heat in the house. And he couldn't get the wood burning stove to vent properly without opening the doors and windows.
This is after the system was installed.
After the system was installed, homeowner calls me because his fireplace isn't working anymore because he had a radon problem, or he had a radon system installed. So as you see here, this is a big cast iron stove, big 12 or 14-inch duct, chimney going up the roof, and then this concrete block slab, core filled, It's just meant as a giant heat sink. So we can get this thing rip-roaring in the afternoon and evening and let it go and go out overnight. And that whole slab will keep warm in the house. So from an energy standpoint, it's actually really cool. But when he comes back down in the next morning then and opens the hatch, the ash and soot spit 16 feet in any given direction. So it makes a holy mess.
Holy smokes, that's not just a mess. That's asking to kill somebody.
Well, here you have it. We were checking gaps and cracks throughout the foundation, and we got smoke to pour anywhere that we went. So we got adequate PFE everywhere, probably too much. So what's wrong? We checked the system and it was moving 120 CFM through 3-inch pipe. 120 CFM is far too much. It's an unreasonable amount of air to expect in a radon system for 3-inch pipe. If you need that much air, you need to really move 4-inch pipe. But it has a new adjustable speed fan on it that frankly wasn't properly adjusted. And they didn't do any sealing. When you're at 120 CFM and 3-inch pipe, your resistance is off the charts and it's super noisy. The older generation radon fans wouldn't have the strength to pull 120 CFM through 3-inch pipe, but the newer new iterations of these fans do. So we need to be careful. Some details of the wood foundation. This is just the outside wall stud bay. Okay, so here's the poured concrete floor. This is a 2x6 outside wall that's insulated. Here's a sheet of treated plywood on the outside wall, and on the other side of that plywood is some sort of waterproofing, and then a whole lot of gravel. There's a whole lot of gravel around the side of the walls of the foundation, as well as underneath this floor.
You're definitely not going to do this with expansive clay soils, right?
No, those houses would rot. In this particular geological feature area, we can do, in some cases, wood foundations. Now, I wouldn't say it's terribly common, but they're guaranteed for like 100 years in some cases. So it works just fine. And then we start looking around and we find underneath the steps a 6 square foot opening to the gravel bed below the slab.
Oh, Sherlock, I think we've solved the mystery on the wood stove here.
Yes, very much so. And there's some, with some conversation with the homeowner who's just following us around the house, just, feeding us information and, what the contractor did, what they didn't do. Contractor saw this and said, sorry, I don't have the material on the truck today to seal that. And he left. So the homeowner had to seal it instead. So there's too much airflow for this system. Reasonably 70 CFM is what we see in 3-inch pipe. And again, it's just really, really loud. So I'm 3 hours from home. I'm an hour, well, maybe not an hour, 45 minutes from the local big box store. Homeowner said, I got some church guys that can help me seal that up. We can take care of that. I'm like, okay, this is great. So what I did is I turned the fan down to the lowest operating pressure I could get it to, which is like 25 to 30% of the total RPMs. And that reduced the total flow to 30 CFM. I had the homeowner seal that large opening and then retest for radon. Now at this 30 CFM number, his chimney worked just fine. Great. So we retested for radon and it got down to 2. So it went from 13 to 2, but we still had, that's mild weather. We could probably do better. So I had him adjust the speed on the fan again, up about 10% and retest again. During the coldest month of the year, the radon was less than 1. Now the system is really optimized. It's quiet, it's much more efficient, and we're not endangering the occupants. So an oversized system can do more harm than good, much like oversizing an air conditioning unit can do more harm than good. And I have some takeaways for everyone. Please, with the new technology that's out there, please understand how large of a fan you need to use or what setting you need to set these fans on. How much air are you moving versus how much air do you really need? Don't just put it in and run for the truck. Optimize it, dial it down, measure it before you harm somebody or someone or something. Did you know that these fans come from the manufacturer at the maximum setting? And there's a warning label or a sticker on it or a piece of cardboard in the packaging that tells you that, hey, this is an adjustable speed fan. But what I've seen in numerous cases is that the installer didn't pay any attention to that. So what's needed? Rarely do you need these new fans that can move 300 plus CFM or pull over 4.5 inches of water column. Rarely do you need that at a maximum setting. But the diagnostics is the only way to know. So do your pressure field extension after your system's installed and dial it down appropriately. More airflow is rarely better. That air is coming from somewhere, and in a lot of cases, that air is coming from the indoors. We want to keep that air in the indoors. So higher flows increase operating costs of systems. One, it actually uses more wattage, which means you're paying for more electricity. And two, you're taking conditioned air down the cracks into the radon fan and blowing it outside. That's a heavy operating cost penalty as well. Now, I urge everyone attending to tune in tomorrow, where Chad and I will actually, tomorrow and Thursday, Chad and I will actually have more discussions over this operating costs and optimizing systems.
So Josh, would I be correct if I said this house could have been fixed with the smallest radon fan on the market and been less danger to the occupants?
Absolutely, yeah. Just sealing that giant air leak alone and using a low wattage fan would likely have solved this problem.
And if we kept that, if we sealed the crack or sealed that big air leak on the inside and didn't turn that fan down, we still continued to move 120 CFM, it's possible that we could have pulled cold air from outside through all that gravel under the slab, making the slab really cold. Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Super good stuff. Hey, we'll see you all tomorrow afternoon, same bat time, and on Thursday.
Fantastic. Thanks, gentlemen. That was a great, interesting session. So I guess now we are done with day one. Great job, everybody. However, the best part of the day would be the happy hour that's coming up and all the breakout sessions, right, Nicole?
Yeah. So if everyone leaves this agenda, we're actually going to close the Zoom here and hop back onto the agenda and click on the happy hour 4 o'clock sessions. They are Zoom meeting breakout rooms, and give us a couple minutes to get the rooms all set up, and they're good to go for the next hour.
Thank you, everybody. Great first day.
Good job. Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Dallas.
Thank you, show hosts.
I think you should bring the hat out for the happy hour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.